Happy Thanksgiving, everyone! I'm here with my next Q&A. Before we start, I just want to say, please excuse the inconsistent microphone quality. My microphone is extremely lousy. I'm considering getting a new one after Thanksgiving, though. Anyways, on to the questions. Aditya Bala asks, have you seen the Patrick Star Show? If not, I really recommend it. In my opinion, it's much better than the latest seasons of the main show. I haven't, because the idea of giving Patrick his own show? I don't think I even need to begin to explain why that's such a stupid idea. I'll even say Camp Coral was a better idea than this. Though, to be fair, I haven't seen that either. Though I have seen one episode from each of those. Those being Shrinking Stars from the Patrick Star Show and the Switch Glitch from Camp Coral. Though that's mainly because they were part of the title zone. And I have been considering giving both shows a try, especially since I've heard a few people saying the Patrick Star Show isn't as dumb as it sounds, especially since I heard there's one episode of it that references a nostalgia critic in an actually genius way. Have you seen Aqua Teen Hunger Force? I don't know anything about it. What's your comfort show and game? My comfort show would probably have to be Thomas, specifically the older seasons. As for game, I don't know, maybe Pokemon Emerald or Kirby's Epic Yarn. Anna Xisca asks, thoughts on Mario Party Jamboree, and what's your favorite and least favorite board and minigame? I unfortunately haven't played it yet. I'm going to after I beat Mario and Luigi Brothership though. Favorite and least favorite emotions from the Inside Out movies? One for each movie. Just let me inform you guys that I don't hate any of them. My favorite in the first is Joy, while my least favorite, please don't take this the wrong way, it would probably be Sadness. Again, don't take this the wrong way, I don't hate her. It's just I had to pick someone. As for in the sequel, I think my favorite is Envy. Which, yeah, seems like a weird choice since she doesn't do much. While my least favorite is Inui. As I say again, I do not hate any of these. What are your thoughts on The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, as well as your favorite moment? I haven't really decided on my favorite moment, but I do think the Still World segments are kinda neat. As for what I think of the game itself, well, I'd say it's okay so far. One thing I can appreciate about it is the fact that it's the closest we've gotten in a while to a Zelda game that actually plays out like a Zelda game. Anthony Tone's Backup asked, are you familiar with Puyo Puyo? I've heard of it, and I think I might have seen gameplay footage of it, but I haven't played it. Austin Sullivan asked, what is your opinion on Fairly Odd Parents: A New Wish? I haven't seen it. I heard some people say it's actually surprisingly good though. I'm considering maybe giving it a watch someday. What is your opinion on Character.ai? I hate AI. Better than that's the question that contains massive spoilers from Mario and Luigi Dream Team. Click to this time frame to avoid spoilers. Has your opinion on the worst video game boss fights changed? I know that in your recent list you had Dreamy Bowser at the top, so I wanted to ask if your opinions had changed. Nope, I still hate Dreamy Bowser. You don't have a problem with that, do you? Don't want to assume things. It's just that there are a lot of butthurt people who whine about me having a different opinion on that fight. Brady Gliwa asks, if you had the ability to fuse your 6 favorite females from anime, video games, and cartoons into one, but can only pick one per franchise, who would you choose? I'd go with Edelgard, Elsa, May, Aqua, Samus, and probably Zelda. Brayden9002 asks, favorite Sonic game? Sonic Colors. What are your thoughts on Slide 2 Band of Thieves? Since I saw your community post of what you got for Christmas and showed you got Slide 2 as a gift. I enjoy it. Carrotcake99 Productions asked, favorite color? Kind of a basic question for these, but I shouldn't judge. My favorite color is purple. Cliffordlonghead asked, what is your rating of the Super Mario RPG remake, Thousand Year Door remake, and the new Mario & Luigi game by 1 to 3? A 1 to 3? That sounds like it'll be kinda difficult. Probably a 3, maybe a 2.5. Why do you start this yearly Q&A video in the first place? I don't know, I just thought it would be fun. Daniel Carrero asked, thoughts on the 4 hounds from Engage? I don't remember much about them, but from what I do remember, I'd say they're not bad villains. Definitely more interesting villains than Grima, Anankos, and those who slither in the dark, that's for sure. His next question contains massive spoilers from 3 houses. Who was a better boss fight? Xehanort from Kingdom Hearts 3 or Rayon in 3 Houses Silver Snowpath? By far, Xehanort, because that's a pretty good finale, while Silver Snow's final boss is awful for reasons I explained in my worst final bosses list. David Gonzalez asked, favorite PlayStation game series? The Kingdom Hearts games, no doubt about it. Any worlds you want to see in Kingdom Hearts? I want to see Frozen 2, The Incredibles, Moana, Jungle Book, Cars, Coco, and multiple others. Have you seen Hell of a Boss / Has-Been Hotel? No. David Mbamba asked, what is your favorite blade in the Xenoblade series? This is going to contain massive spoilers from Xenoblade 2. My favorite is Nia. How have things been going for you so far in general? I'd say they've been going fine. I did have this annoying cough though, which was really annoying, especially since it made my voice hoarse, so I had to put some of my videos on hold until further notice. But overall, I've been doing fine. Duncan Stevens asked, have you played Subnautica yet? I'd really like to see you do a video on it, so please consider playing it. My answer is the same as it was 3 years ago. I still haven't. for the same reason as I brought up then, because while it looks cool with the underwater theme, it doesn't really look like my type of game, mainly because I'm more into Nintendo games. Can you give an update on how your work is going? Have you got an apartment yet? And is there a Mrs. Meta or even some baby Metas in your life? Imagine you and Honest Xisca got together after my suggestion and are living your best life. Say it is so! I don't want you to accuse me of crushing your hopes and dreams, but no, Anna and I have not gotten together. I've already told you 2 years ago that I don't have any plans of marrying Honest Xisca, because I have a lot of qualifications for a girl who I'd want to be my wife. To share a lot of my interests, including video games, to be tolerant of my faults, and to be smart and nice and beautiful enough. Needless to say, those are a lot of qualifications. It may seem unreasonable, but when we're talking about the woman I want to spend my life with, it makes sense that I'd have this many qualifications. And I don't want you to assume that that means I don't like Anna Xisca, since last time I told you I'm not going to marry her, you misinterpreted that as me mistreating her. I do like Anna Xisca as a friend, but I don't think that she fits every single one of these qualifications. And besides, I've already told you before that it's not very polite to ship people in real life, because nowadays it can be seen as very offensive, and it will only lead to your heart being broken later. And about you wanting me to have kids, I'm sorry to say that I don't plan on having any, because of 3 reasons. 1, they require a lot of responsibility, and I don't think I'd be nearly a good enough parent to them. 2, I'll have to work at least twice as long as I already do, and I'll barely have any time for my own hobbies. And 3, I don't want to have to hear some annoying baby crying on a daily basis. So it's not a very good idea for you to imagine all these scenarios of how I live my life and beg them to be a reality. Again, not trying to crush your hopes and dreams, but when you have hopes and dreams that involve me living my life the way you want me to, it can easily offend someone. Controlling other people's lives is a really bad thing. I appreciate your concern, but I don't appreciate you trying to force me to marry a random person in my fan base. It's not right to force 2 people to be together. And if you ask me again in a future Q&A, then I'm going to ignore that question. Don't worry everyone, Duncan's last question is a lot more reasonable. And so here it is. Something seems very off about that Rowan Jackson dude. His voice is all distorted and his house is filthy. Any idea about who he is or what's going on here? Seems a bit mental if you ask me. Okay, to answer your question, I haven't really noticed his house. But as for his voice, yeah, there are some times where I can barely hear what he's saying. However, I will say this. I'm not mad at Rowan Jackson anymore, since ever since you asked that question, I was able to finally get through to him, and he did apologize for impersonating me, so as long as he doesn't impersonate me again or do anything like that, we're cool now. I still think he can be a little bit weird at times, but I'm not mad at him anymore. Embur Rae asked, what are your thoughts on the Pikmin series? I love them. What game was a major disappointment when you played it? I've played tons of games that were like that for me. Sonic Genesis GBA, Sonic Frontiers, Rayman, Ristar, F-Zero Maximum Velocity, and multiple others. Do you dislike the commentary community compared to the 2010s? Well, I do miss when people like Roshitsu and Supersonic 407 would do commentaries. I have a lot of great memories of them. I mean, I've accepted the fact that they quit, I just miss them. And I also don't find myself wanting to watch every commentary I see from commentators I'm subbed to, like I did back then, though I think that might just be a me thing. Though I will say the commentary community has at least gotten less toxic than they used to be, since it's a lot rarer when the commentators tell their subjects to commit suicide, and they do put disclaimers telling their viewers not to harass the original uploader. It's just too bad there are still some people who are just as toxic as they were back then, but I'll address them in the movie and cartoon fans question. Enrique Pizarro asked, what's your favorite games in 2024 so far? I'd say Princess Peach Showtime, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Mario & Luigi Brothership. Do you know Fate Grand Order? What's your opinion? I don't know anything about it. What's the worst games in 2024 that you've played this year? No contest, Sonic Frontiers. I haven't played any other games I didn't like this year, except maybe Echoes of Wisdom, since I haven't really decided on my opinion on that game yet. Gardevoir Fan 1996 asked, what was your most used emblem ring in Fire Emblem Engage? I'm not 100% sure, but I think Edelgard because she's my waifu. And speaking of Edelgard, the next question contains spoilers from Three Houses. Since I'm thinking of taking Edelgard down Flyer Route in Three Houses, what's the best master class to end her in? Wyvern Lord or Falcon Knight? Call me someone who knows nothing about the game, but I can't really answer that. When Laylsis, the Snake Reviewer, asked, have you ever considered watching The Has-Been Hotel or The Amazing Digital Circus? No, I haven't. Isaiah Stover asked, have you ever considered the countdown idea of a top 10 worst Fairly OddParents episodes? Why, in fact I have, though I've been planning on making it a top 20 instead of a top 10. And I'm also considering leaving out episodes from Season 10 because I heard that season is nothing but garbage. There are a lot of episodes from Seasons 1 through 9 that I really want to talk about in the list. ItsYaBoiBow asked, what's your favorite season of the Pokemon anime? That's a really difficult question. Probably either the Orange Islands or the original Black and White. I know some people might find me weird for choosing those, but I can't really think of any seasons I like more than it. Itzamii asked, do you know about Kirby lore and what are your thoughts about it? I don't really follow the lore since the plots of the games are mostly pretty simple. Do you have any interest in checking out Hollow Knight? Sadly, not at the moment. Jake Cook asked, when's your next video? By that he means commentary, countdown, or everything wrong with video. Well, I did do a list of games I wanted to like ever since you asked that, but if you want to know what my next video after this one is, hopefully within the next couple weeks, my top 15 surprisingly dark episodes. Yeah, my Halloween countdown ITs will be releasing in the Christmas season. Sue me. Can your next Everything Wrong with Video be a Mario Party game? I sadly don't have any plans of sending one. I usually send more story-driven games, which, yeah, I know it sounds kind of weird since I send Game & Watch Gallery 4 and the Banjo games, but I don't know, I just send whatever games I feel like. What's your favorite SpongeBob movie? Probably either Sponge Out of Water or Sponge on the Run. Yes, I liked both those movies. Again, sue me. But at least the amount of hate that the new Sandy Cheeks movie got made me feel a little bit better about it. Jesse Miller asked, have you heard of Mugen? Yes, but I haven't played it. What are your top favorite Pokemon movies? I'd probably say Destiny Deoxys, Pokemon the Movie 2000, and maybe Kyurem vs. the Sword of Justice. JJ Slider asked, is there any media where you've changed your perspective since your initial viewing/experience, positive or negative? There are a lot to count, but I'll just list a few examples. The Danny Phantom episode, The Fright Before Christmas. I remember not being a fan of it because of how much of a humbug Danny is, but after watching it again last year, I realized it truly is a good episode. Though you do have to sit through a lot of Danny being an a-hole before you get to all the good stuff, but overall, still a good episode nonetheless. There are also a lot of forms of media that I used to hate but now like, such as The Corpse Bride, as well as nearly every game that was on my top 10 games that grew on me list. What is your opinion on Platinum Games' catalog? By that he means what's my opinion on the games they've produced. The only one of their games I've played was Star Fox Zero, which I thought was pretty underrated. Not an awesome game, but still underrated nonetheless. Favorite Gaming in the Clinton Years video? I don't watch Gaming in the Clinton Years. Heck, it's been an eternity since I even heard of them last. Josh McCalip asked, with Blueberry Academy located in Unova, could this mean we're getting Gen 5 remakes after Legends Z through A? That would be nice, but there are two reasons why I don't want to get my hopes too high. The first reason is because everyone kept making Hoenn confirmed posts for moments in Black and White 1 and 2, only for the remakes to come out a generation later than everyone thought. And second of all, even if we do get Gen 5 remakes, there's a worry that they're going to take the Solace and Nostalgia Pendring route by making them like Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, which weren't bad games, but if you won't even give proper changes to them, there's no reason to make remakes at all. Ever played a Need for Speed game? No. Favorite Hoyoverse game? I haven't played any. JT64 asked, apart from SpongeBob and Thomas and Friends, what other childhood shows did you grow up with? I grew up with Fairly Odd Parents, Pokemon, the Winnie the Pooh cartoon, though only a small handful of episodes from it, and embarrassingly, a bunch of Nick Jr. and PBS kids shows like Barney, Clifford, Dragon Tales, Dora the Explorer, and multiple others. Yeah, I actually used to watch those shows. Give me a break, I was a little kid. Though I've been considering going back to watching Cyber Chase. I just hope people don't think I'm weird for it though. Which video game franchises do you think have the better animated series, Mario or Sonic? Sonic, very easily. Because we've only had 3 Mario TV shows, 2 which were good but not great, and even the Super Mario World cartoon, which I consider great, I put it in the lower B tier. Sonic, however, I love both Sonic X and Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. I haven't seen enough of the other shows to know if I'd call them great or not, but Adventures definitely carries them. What was your favorite animated movie, game, and cartoon that came out the year you were born? I'm sorry to say that falls under personal info. Dwanka2567 asked, if Kirby gets a movie and the movie gets a sequel, if that sequel has Roar of DDD in some big climax, do you think that this hypothetical scene would defeat Holding Out for a Hero from Shrek 2 in terms of popularity? I doubt it, but that sounds like it will be awesome. If Kirby gets a movie, by the way, who would you vote to voice Meta Knight? I don't know, maybe Keanu Reeves or Jason Griffith, since the latter's voiced Shadow on several occasions, so this would probably fit him too. What's your opinion on Ribbon from Kirby 64, and do you think Kirby should have a love interest as implied with Kirby 64's good ending? That sounds like 2 questions in one, but I'll answer them anyway. Ribbon seems like a neat character, and I think Kirby and Ribbon would make a neat couple. Kirby the Artist asks, what would you like for a potential Inside Out 3? I honestly don't know what would be a good idea or not. I'm thinking maybe some new emotions, and maybe they could also bring in Gloom, the emotion that was originally planned to be the main villain of the first movie. But at the same time, there was probably a good reason he was scrapped, so maybe my idea wouldn't be so good. What's your opinion on Kung Fu Panda 4? I thought it was enjoyable enough.
though hearing everyone's thoughts on it makes me feel stupid about myself for liking it. Though I think most of that comes from how it reminds me of the time where I prematurely judged everyone for hating Wish, and didn't even bother hearing their reasons first. Though at least unlike with Wish, this time I actually heard them out on their complaints before I judged them. And I do have one defensive argument for Kung Fu Panda 4. How everyone complains about their choice to cast Aquafina as Zen, because apparently it's a really bad thing to cast Aquafina in anything. I honestly don't get why people hate Aquafina so much. I mean, sure, there are better actors, and I'll admit, I'm not really a fan of her myself, but no one ever goes into any elaboration as to why she's a bad actor. They just leave it at, well, Aquafina bad. I mean, at least with people's complaints towards Wish, I understood where the hate was coming from when I stopped being ignorant and actually bothered to hear them out. Aquafina, however, I did a Google search to see why people hate her, and I still haven't found a proper answer. Maybe I'm just not looking hard enough, but yeah, I did try looking. Are you excited for the upcoming Switch 2? You bet darn well I am. Kirby Dude 667 asked, what's your favorite Mario RPG? Partners in Time. Kyle Wilson asked, do you have any plans of making any more Everything Wrong with videos, whether they're games or movies? I haven't seen them from you in a while, and I kinda miss them. I'd have gotten more done by now, but I've just been really behind on my spoofs after that one brainless moron false flagged my spoofs channel and got it terminated a year ago. And after my computer broke down and I had to spend weeks without one. That's why I haven't been doing any Everything Wrong with videos within this past year, because I really wanted to catch up on my spoofs. Hopefully I'll make at least a few next year. Laurel Guillemete asked, is Final Fantasy III still the worst game you've played, or did another game dethrone it? Nope, it's still the worst. What is the worst Disney film you saw and why? This probably won't really sound like much, but probably Beauty and the Beast Enchanted Christmas. If you want to know why, go check out my review of it. It's on Odyssey. What is your favorite and least favorite Halloween special and why? I don't know what my favorite is. I'll probably guess Legends of Bikini Bottom. My least favorite, however, would have to be Obake Yashiki from the Big Hero 6 cartoon, because it literally just stops being a Halloween special by the 8-minute mark. That is literally not even halfway through the episode. What kind of Halloween special stops being a Halloween special not even halfway through? Loogi Man asked, what are your thoughts on Inside Out 2? I loved it, and I'm glad that this movie is getting the praise it deserves. Or at least it did until all of these ungrateful brats decided to start constantly bashing on it just for getting rid of a scene of Riley being gay. Yeah. To the people complaining about that, do I need to remind you that you people are the ones who constantly backlash Disney for having too many gay scenes, which you guys proclaim are woke garbage? Now Disney finally answers everyone's prayers and they still complain. Since they both come out in summer of 2026, are you more interested in Shrek 5 or Toy Story 5? I'm looking forward to both, but I'd say that Shrek 5 is the less unnecessary of the two, so I choose that. Though I do have a defensive argument for Toy Story 5. Considering how everyone complained about Woody abandoning his friends at the end of Toy Story 4, you people should be happy that Woody is reuniting with them in this movie. Because if anything, Disney is answering your prayers by undoing the ending that you people hate so much. Though I do have a worry about that movie. A bunch of morons are begging Pixar to have Woody and the other toys reunite with Andy at the end of Toy Story 5. Even though that would be much more likely to ruin the third movie's ending than the fourth movie ever would. Do you prefer Disneyland or Disney World? Disney World. Lori Taylor asks, what would you think if Sableye had a dark rock type, rock ghost type, or a regional Sableye that's a rock type since they eat gems? That sounds like it would be a good idea. Favorite and least favorite Paradox Pokemon from Scarlet and Violet each? For Scarlet, my favorite is Great Tusk, while my least favorite is Screamtail. For Violet, my favorite is probably Iron Hands, while my least favorite is probably Iron Bundle. Favorite prehistoric Pokemon? Probably either Rampardos or Auroras. Maddie Sarver asked, do you look forward to Epic Mickey Rebrushed? Well, I think that'll be nice that it's coming out, but I also don't have much of a reason to get it, considering how I've already played the Wii version 3 years ago, and this probably won't change enough to warrant me getting it. Would you want a Mario Galaxy 3 game? Yes! If you like playing Nintendo Switch Online, what game do you want Nintendo to put on the Nintendo Switch Online besides Mother 3? I honestly don't think I really have any reason to use Nintendo Switch Online, because I think I heard its performance is atrocious. So much that I once deleted someone's Paper Mario save data. At least I hope that was a glitch and that Nintendo didn't do that on purpose as a desperate attempt to make said player play one of the newer Paper Mario games. Masonanimate asked, do you like listening to no copyright sounds? I've never listened to their videos before. Master Marx asked, now that Death Battle is back, what is your most anticipated matchup? I sadly don't watch Death Battle. Favorite Super Mario World ROM hack? I haven't played any ROM hacks, so I'll just say all the ones I've seen. Probably Super Marissa World. I'd say probably because there are two detractors that make me wonder if it's a good choice. The first one is the fact that I've seen one of those Super Marissa games before, and I can't remember for sure if it's this one or not. The other is that I'm not entirely sure it's a ROM hack. And if it isn't, then I'll probably say this one Notte Luminosa ROM hack that Proton John did back in late 2012. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? I've never really thought about what a good answer to that question would be. Probably about 50 pounds at once. Michelle Magnuson asked, was there a movie or show you really loved back then but now really hate? Not that I can think of. The closest I can think to that are shows like Barney, Dora, and the Teletubbies. But that's mainly because they're only aimed at little kids. Nesser asked, are you planning on making more Kingdom Hearts videos? By that do you mean more everything wrong with videos on them or countdowns based on them? Because I'm planning on doing everything wrong with videos on the other Kingdom Hearts games except for Melody of Memory and the mobile games, unless they make remakes of the mobile games, but that's besides the point. And I'm planning on maybe doing a list of the hardest Kingdom Hearts bosses. Though with the latter, I might not be able to do a proper one, since the absent silhouettes in Kingdom Hearts 3 are just rage quit worthy, since if you want to level grind, you have to go back and redo the entire final boss, which I'd imagine will get extremely tedious after a while. New Mario Galaxy or Kingdom Hearts? I'd love to have both of them, but I'd say I'd rather have a new Kingdom Hearts, considering how Nomura is a brainless moron who constantly procrastinates games. So I'd want the new Kingdom Hearts as soon as possible. While making sure it still functions, of course. Don't want another Sonic 06 in our hands. Night Guy asked, have you played any of the LEGO video games? The only one I've played is LEGO Racers, and I thought it was decent. I'd like it more if the game didn't keep turning you around every single time you get hit, and force you to keep readjusting yourself though. What's your favorite theme park ride? I don't know about my favorite, but pretty much all of them are from Disney World. I'll say some of my favorites are the Winnie the Pooh ride, Frozen Ever After, Rise of the Resistance, Mickey's Runaway Railway, and multiple others. Any country you'd like to visit? I'd like to visit Japan because that's where a lot of awesome Nintendo stuff are, and I also want to try out Tokyo Disneyland, especially since I think I heard they have a Frozen Land there. You can imagine that I'd likely adore that. Parker Dolan asked, what are the characters you would like to see in the Super Mario Bros. Movie 2? I'd say the Koopalings, as well as Wario, Daisy, Rosalina, and Yoshi, even though he's kind of a given. How do you feel about the live-action Minecraft movie starring Jack Black? I haven't played much of Minecraft, but I could maybe consider giving it a try. That's a very big maybe though, because of how much backlash the trailer got. I don't think it looks that bad, but then again, I've been wrong before in accusing people of overreacting when I got mad at the Wish haters. Maybe the reason I don't think the Minecraft movie looks that bad is probably just because I'm not as knowledgeable on Minecraft as the people this movie is intended for, so the Minecraft fans probably know what they're talking about. How do you feel about the live-action Zelda movie? I'm both looking forward to it and kind of nervous about it. I've been wanting a Zelda movie for years now, and it looks like I'm finally getting my wish. But after I forced myself to sit through the Zelda cartoon, that made me a bit worried, because of how Link is both annoying and stupid in that cartoon, and it makes me worry that they'll make him annoying and stupid here too. Some will say, oh, we don't really have to worry about that since Nintendo likely knows how much backlash the cartoon got. Yeah, I'd have thought so too if they didn't make Luigi's Mansion 3's pause screen the Virtual Boy. So, who's to say they won't do the same thing here? Especially considering how they referenced the Mario cartoon in the Mario movie, which granted the references worked there, but they wouldn't work here. I'm still looking forward to this movie, but I'm not getting my hopes too high either. Pink Sheep 752 asked, do you plan on doing an everything wrong with video for some of the Puyo Puyo games? Not at the moment. I'm still waiting for you to send the 2 Pokemon Ranger sequels sometime, as they're what I think to be the best Pokemon games outside of maybe the Pokemon Rumble series. Alright, to answer your question, yes, I plan on sending them. I was thinking of doing Shadows of Amia last year, and Guardian Sense this year to have a tradition of sending the Ranger games every summer, at least until I finish them all. But I couldn't find good enough footage of Shadows of Amia with no commentary, so you can imagine how that tradition went. Ready to Animate asks, which Mario RPG character is sassier, Starlo or Goombella? Starlo. What's your favorite episode from each of your favorite Nicktoons? There are way too many to count. I'll probably say It's a SpongeBob Christmas, Channel Chasers, Enter the Dragon, and The Return of the Revenge of Dr. Blowhole. Considering that I've seen humanizations of Cappy and Tiara, it makes me wonder, is there a theory video that asks us what the monitors looked like when they were alive, and how they died and became the ghost hats we all know and love? I don't know, why don't you go check for yourself? Robert628 asked, what is your favorite and least favorite Pokemon type and why? My favorite is Ice, because I think Ice is awesome. And yes, I know a lot of people will hate me for saying that considering how it has 4 weaknesses and only 1 resistance, but it's true. I just think that Ice is really awesome. Though I will say that I do think it should have more resistances. As for least favorite, I'm going with normal because it's kinda dull and it's never super effective against anything, not even itself. Do you hate Isa as much as Saix? Well, truth be told, when I put Saix on the original version of my hated characters list, I didn't realize that it was invalid for me to put him on, since I was putting him on for reasons that we're supposed to hate him for. Though if you're talking about hating a character for reasons they're intended to be hated for, then no, I don't hate Isa as much as Saix, because Saix did a lot more hateable things than Isa did. Though there are a few moments where I question Isa as a friend for Lee, especially considering something he says to Lee in one scene. I mean, I get that friends mess with each other, but we never really see anything Isa does to show that he really is a good friend to Lee. But yeah, I don't hate him as much as Saix. Though if we ignore the fact that Saix is bad for reasons we're supposed to hate him for, then I'd say that Isa is worse. Will you ever make a list of the best games you first played in 2021, 2022, and 2023? I really want to, but I'm worried that if I do them nowadays, everyone will get mad at me and say that those years are already over and that I'm making these videos way too late.
Rowan Akamiya185 asks, the mecha ability from Kirby's Return to Dreamland is one of my favorite copy abilities. Is it one of your favorites too? Not one of my favorites, but still a cool ability. Is Sheik a fun character to use in Smash Bros? Kind of, though Sheik is also an extremely random choice. Are you considering making a list of the best and or worst Mario Party minigames, as well as considering you're making your own best and worst video game weapons list and your own longest bosses list? Currently I have no plans of it.
Seamous Boucher asked, what is your favorite game ever? Pokemon Emerald. What is your most hated game ever? Final Fantasy III for the DS, as I've stated before. Super UTTP asked, did you know that Rampage was based off a video game of the same name? Yes, but I didn't know that when I first saw the movie. Is my name funny? I'd say it's somewhere in between. But then again, humor is subjective.
Swordstar Cheesecake 100 asked, what other languages can you speak in? I only really speak English, but I can count to 29 in Spanish. Top 3 favorite kinds of fries? Probably sweet potato fries, crinkle cut french fries, and I can't really think of a third one, so probably just regular fries. What do you think of the choice to have Keanu Reeves voice acting Shadow in Sonic Movie 3? Not bad, at least from the clips I've heard so far. TessMcGrath asked, what's your thoughts on multiverses? Never played it.
The Strange 2 asked, if you were to add characters in the future Smash game, who would it be and why? I want to see Shantae because she's a popularly requested character, not to mention a great waifu. I'd also want to see Riku so that Kingdom Hearts can have more representation, assuming Sora returns. And maybe Ceruledge, Zoroark, Sceptile, Shovel Knight, Tails, and several others. If you could add any mode in the future Smash game, what would it be? I want them to bring back target tests, but unlike in Brawl, actually give a decent amount of target test stages. I know it will be an unreasonable request to ask for target test stages for every individual character, considering how many characters everyone expects in Smash nowadays, but I'd like them to at least think of some way to actually help them work. And I would also love to see Smash Run make a return, because I don't want this awesome mode to only be in the second weakest Smash game, topped only by the original. And maybe also bring back Board the Platforms, and give us a new story mode. An actual story mode that isn't just an entire month of nothing but battles with like 6 cutscenes. And yes, I am aware that the reason Sakurai didn't give us any more story modes is because idiots kept leaking all of Brawl's cutscenes, but he shouldn't punish all of us for what a few morons did.
The movie and cartoon fan asked, do you hate what the commentary community has turned into? Well, I wouldn't know what I think of the majority of the commentary community, but I will say that some members of it seemed extremely toxic about a year and a half ago, when they thought it was okay to constantly harass me after the Becca Faye drama. Which, granted, their anger was understandable, but that didn't make it okay for them to constantly harass me, let alone lie about me by saying that I was intentionally trying to deceive Becca Faye, even though it's not deceiving if I was trying to convince Becca of something that I thought was true.
I mean, I was still in the wrong for how I treated Becca. In fact, I'd say that's my biggest train wreck in quite a while, but the other commentators weren't exactly angels either.
Probably the worst ones for me were Loudon, who was the reason why everyone attacked me, and even put up a complete BS claim that he doesn't want anyone to harass me over it, because if he really meant that, he wouldn't approve of everyone harassing me. Jen Rome 123 was literally just as toxic as she was ever since I first found her in the commentary community,
and proclaiming that me bothering Becca every few months was just as bad as when I constantly stalked Roshitsu every week back in 2011.
And the other one that I would consider one of the worst is Chanana Arts, also known as Ariana the Echidna, for being a complete traitor. She has been so nice to me for many years, and then deceived me into thinking that I didn't have to worry about her breaking her friendship with me after what happened. But then, as soon as I let my guard down, she blocked me and started saying horrible things about me behind my back. And when I rightfully got upset for her betrayal, she told me to grow up, even though it was completely understandable for me to feel betrayed by her. She should really think of it from my perspective. The fact that someone I genuinely trusted and considered a true friend just almost completely out of nowhere started showing complete unadulterated malice right after I let my guard down. I haven't seen many other instances of the commentary community being toxic, however, outside of those instances,
and even the honest reviews doesn't seem nearly as terrible as he was back then.
But I don't want to get my hopes up. And there is another problem with the commentary community nowadays, though I guess to be fair, it's a problem with pretty much all communities nowadays. The fact that people need to have the other users edit their videos for them. That just makes these people look completely lazy, and it makes them look like complete babies too. These people are grown adults, and they should be able to do all the editing themselves, instead of making other people do the editing for them like babies who still need training wheels on their bikes. Favorite SpongeBob meme? Probably chocolate! Thoughts on the "it ruined my childhood" and rolling in their grave excuse? I think that people can be really stupid when they proclaim that something ruined people's childhoods just by existing. Especially when they proclaim that they can never watch Toy Story 3's ending ever again, all because Toy Story 4 exists. Look, I won't deny that Toy Story 4 is definitely the weakest in the franchise, but that doesn't mean we can't still be moved by Toy Story 3's ending. And the rolling in their grave excuse can be a good excuse, depending on how it's used, but there are some exceptions. Like how every time Disney World makes any changes to the parks, everyone screams and whines and says that Disney is intentionally taking a dump all over Walt Disney's grave. Like I said in the community post I made 5 months ago, I swear, humanity gets more and more oversensitive every year. They also treat every Disney remake like it's the worst thing known to mankind. People, shut up and calm down. They're just bad remakes. True, your complaints towards them are valid, but stop treating them like they're the second Holocaust. And that especially goes for the hate towards the upcoming Snow White remake. Because that's all it's going to be. Just a bad remake, not a second Holocaust. And there are also people who get mad at Nickelodeon for wanting to make the Krabby Patty real, which, to be fair, they do have a better reason for being mad at this than they do for being mad at Disney World's changes, since Steven Hillenburg didn't want the Krabby Patty to be real. But let me just say, of course Nickelodeon broke that rule. The rule was very poorly enforced. I'm pretty sure that no one knew about this rule until that one guy got backlash for selling Krabby Patties at the one sports game. If you don't want people to break a rule that would violate someone's grave, then actually try to enforce the rule instead of stating it so quietly that even an elephant wouldn't hear it. Though there are also some instances where I think it's safe to assume it is okay to get on someone's case for defiling someone's grave. I just can't really think of any at the moment, except maybe the creator of Skibbity Toilet, who sounds like he took a dump on Scatman's grave by stealing the word Skibbity from Scatman and acted like that word belongs to him, and using it in an extremely insulting manner, but I'm also not entirely sure. I'd say I believe that is the case and that he is intentionally defiling Scatman's grave, but I don't want to look back at this part of the Q&A and cringe, since some of my past Q&As had that one cringe-inducing moment in them, including my last two when I made those stupid statements about Becca Faye and the Wish Haters, so I'll only say he's probably defiling Scatman's grave, but I'm not 100% sure. The official Mario fan asked, what is your opinion on the new Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door remake? It's a masterpiece. It definitely fixed the worst parts with the original game, and it might even be my new favorite Mario RPG, but I haven't decided yet. Do you think that any other Paper Mario games will get remixed besides Thousand Year Door? Well, I'd say the only two that people would really have a reason to ask for would be the original and Super Paper Mario. The RWS Geek asked, what are your thoughts on Princess Peach Showtime? It's a masterpiece, and easily my pick for one of, if not the best game of the year. If you could choose one movie that came out before you were born to see on the big screen, which would you choose? I don't know, maybe Muppet Christmas Carol? Which do you prefer, the Sonic movies or the Mario movie? The Mario movie, because while the Sonic movies are good, the Mario movie worked much better as an adaptation, since it actually has the colorful environments you'd expect from Mario, and it actually has a reasonable amount of Mario characters in just this one movie, as opposed to in the Sonic movies where I can count every Sonic character who appears in the first and second movie on one hand, even if you count Shadow. Thomas's Media Corner 2001 asked, favorite Mario Party game? Mario Party 9. Least favorite Mario Party game? Probably Super Mario Party. Favorite and least favorite Mario Party boards and why you like or dislike them? I can't decide on my favorites, but I did like Chili Waters, Shy Guy's Perplex Express, Bowser's Pinball Machine, and Blooper Beach, if I'm remembering them correctly. I don't have the patience to check every single one again. As for why, I can't remember my reasons for liking them, except for how I do think it's cool that Shy Guy's Perplex Express is on a train, and Bowser's Pinball Machine has pinball-like features. My least favorites are Peach's Birthday Cake, at least in the first game, Mr. Mover, and Bob-omb Factory. Since Peach's Birthday Cake looks like it's out of a game for preschoolers, Mr. Mover keeps forcing you and your opponent away from each other so nothing really happens in it, and Bob-omb Factory is almost entirely luck-based, especially the bosses. Tony Sonic asked, if Kid Icarus ever returns, would you want a Dark Pit spin-off, a new game, or a Master of Uprising? Probably a new game, though the remaster option is a very close second. What are your thoughts on Mario & Luigi Brothership? It's good so far, though I'm kinda disappointed that the exploration isn't nearly as present as it's been in the previous games. still fun though. TunyKid1024 asked, do you think Mickey Mouse getting angry is out of character for him? Maybe at some points, but not always. What are your favorite Winnie the Pooh movies from best to worst? I haven't seen all of them, so I'll just list the ones I've seen from best to worst. And just so you know, they have to be at least 40 minutes for me to count them as movies. From best to worst, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, A Very Merry Pooh Year, Springtime with Roo, The Tigger Movie, Piglet's Big Movie, Winnie the Pooh 2011, Pooh's Heffalump Movie, Christopher Robin, and lastly we have Pooh's Heffalump Halloween. Have you ever been to Universal Studios or any of the Disney parks? Heck yes! I've been to all the ones in Florida and California, and I've been to Disneyland Paris. Universe Fan 2012 asked, what's your opinion on Animal Crossing? So far I've only played the original and New Leaf, and I'm not really a fan of the franchise. I mean, it was fun at first, but after doing the same things every day, it gets repetitive after a while. I don't hate it, but I'm not really a fan of it. What's your favorite actress? I don't know, I do have a lot such as Scarlett Johansson, Amy Adams, and Rachel Lillis. The latter who unfortunately died recently, and it does hurt to know that. What preschool show do you like? Well, I do like Thomas, which I was afraid to admit until everyone told me that it's okay to still watch Thomas while still being a grown-up. The only person I know who has an issue with me liking it is Rowan Akamiya185, and trust me, he seems really annoyed with me talking about it. But yeah, he's the only one who judges me for liking it, so I can still like it. I hope they also say the same about Cyber Chase. Though that show's probably more so for grade schoolers than preschoolers. User1 Campbell asked, if you could replace any stage in Sonic Generations, which would you remove and which stage would you replace with it? I'd probably take out Planet Wisp and replace it with Terminal Velocity so we'd have a more fitting final stage. Either that or Asteroid Coaster. Favorite Rune Fire Emblem 3 Houses? Crimson Flower. Which Kingdom Hearts character gets way too much hate in your opinion? I can't think of any. I'd say Kairi, but people have valid complaints about her. So probably the closest I can find is Aqua, since I've seen a lot of people call her overrated, and I don't exactly agree with that statement. Wharton's channel asked, if you could make any sort of Mario game, side character spin-offs included, what would you make and why? Maybe Super Princess Peach 2, or the next Mario Kart game, considering how it's been way too long since our last one, aside from Tour and Home Circuit. And I'd also like to see Mario Galaxy 3, but let's be real, I'm nowhere near the first person to say that. WRJ asked, what are you most looking forward to in Metroid Prime 4? I'd say I'm looking forward to the atmosphere, because the atmosphere in Metroid games are always really cool. And I'm also looking forward to the gameplay, including the scan system, which, while I don't really pay attention to what the scan data actually says, I just find it very satisfying to scan everything. If Smash Ultimate did have another Fighter's Pass, who would you like to see in it? Shantae, Riku, Crash Bandicoot, and maybe Cerule Edge. Who is your favorite member of Guardians of the Galaxy? Probably Star-Lord. Don't know why, probably just because he's the main character. Yizo asks, in your humble opinion, what came first, the chicken or the egg? I'm probably going to get a lot of weird looks for this, but I'd say the chicken. What's your favorite game for the DS? Pokemon Black and White. What's your favorite ice cream flavor? I'd say cookie dough. YoshiBro75 asks, what is your favorite Paper Mario? Either the original or the remake of Thousand Year Door. Would you want a Kirby RPG? Now that you mentioned it, that would be a cool idea. Even though technically we already have one with Kirby Quest and Mass Attack, it would be nice to have an actually fully fledged Kirby RPG. What's your favorite Mario and Luigi Brothers attack? I'd say Chopper Brothers from Superstar Saga, whether it be the normal or advanced version. Thanks again for sticking with me throughout the Q&A. This is Meta527 II. Happy Thanksgiving, and I'll see you later.